everyone. You're in the office with Joseph Skoda. And I love what I do by talking in this office in this episode because I get to meet some interesting people from all around the world. You see me talk to people in the Middle East and the Far East, and all over the United States and South America, and it's so exciting. But here I met someone not too far from where I grew up. I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, and our guest today, I grew up near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You know, it's about 30 to 40 minutes in between. A lot of fun. I miss the Midwest a lot. In fact, I'll be visiting out there again next week. But what interests me about this next guest is she talks a little bit about learning disabilities and how she overcome them. So please help me welcome Michelle Steiner. Hi, Michelle.
Oh, hi, Joseph. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, so glad you could join us today. It's really exciting. And like I was chatting with our audience, and we have a lot of people from around the world tune in on a regular basis, is we want to learn a little bit about challenges and how some of us have to overcome them. Some challenges are bigger for some people than they are for others, but we all have some obstacles in our life regardless. So tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, I have a learning disability, and I was first diagnosed with a learning disability when I was in kindergarten. My preschool teacher thought there might be something going on, but I was my parents' first child, and they didn't have a whole lot to base it on. So we went, enrolled me into kindergarten, and I struggled with things like counting and tying my shoes and visual perception, and math was always the biggest thing too. And I was diagnosed that year. And the next year I had to repeat kindergarten in a new school that was in our district. And I also began to receive specialty instruction. So where we're going, we get that. And it was really frustrating those early years. When we think about elementary school, most people think, oh, those are the really easy years. For me, those were that was the toughest. It was a lot of rote memory, a lot of those basic skills. And I was really frustrated, but eventually the special instruction and the accommodations began to work. I was placed into all regular classes except for math and resource in high school. And just having that experience was really beneficial. I had a regular ed teacher that held me accountable. And I also had some special, still had the supports that were needed. The real issue was when I was getting ready to graduate. I knew I wanted to do college. I was a little apprehensive about that because I knew my difficulties with math. And I had a teacher that was like, well, I don't know if you can do college because of your math abilities. And she goes, why don't we try a technical school? And nothing wrong with technical schools or colleges. They're wonderful, but nothing there interested me. So I had some other people that did encourage me. There was a student teacher that said, you can go to college. You know how to study. And I was really amazed. I never knew anyone that went to college that had a disability. And I also got involved with office vocational rehab, and we decided that community college would be the best thing because I didn't have SAT scores, and a lot of universities just look at how well you did at a two-year college. And I can remember right before I went in, I had to get reevaluated for a learning disability to get accommodations. And the psychiatrist told me, you're not going to go beyond a community college. And that really was hurtful. And I can remember I had a professor that told me, your job choices are going to be really limited. So I didn't use all the accommodations, and I really struggled. And it wasn't until I had a professor that told me I was really struggling in her class, and she said, why don't we get you some accommodations? And I didn't do great in her class, but I was able to graduate with an associate's in early childhood education. And I was able to move out on my own. And I enjoyed that. I worked in some centers, and I just always wanted more though.
Sure. I understand that. Sometimes someone talks to us and they put challenges or obstacles in front of us that we don't even know are there. because they're usually not there. You know, it actually took me 12 years to get my 2-year degree.
Oh,
12
wow.
years, yeah. And then
Yeah.
I have a PhD today, but back then, when I was in the
Yeah.
military, I traveled, I'd take a class here, I'd take a class there. And it was speech that kept me from getting my degree. I tried to clip out of it. I tried to talk in front of a tape recorder and I would fail. In front of people, and I was horrible. And I finally got the gumption to take speech class, and I got an A. I got an A.
Yeah.
It's something I thought mentally I couldn't do. And I was
Mhm.
horrible. And today I'm a Toastmaster, I'm a public speaker, I get paid to speak. But back in
Right.
my early years, it was self-imposed that I couldn't do it. So it's pretty interesting that you talked a little bit about that.
Right, exactly. Because I knew that, I'll always have, if it's a math or a science, there's going to be issues with visual perception. I'm not able to drive because of that, but there's always ways around things. And I can remember for financial reasons when I had to move back in with my parents. And I thought, then my job downsized, and I thought, this is the time to go back to school, just to try it, to see if I can do it. I found a program that interested me. I had disability accommodations at the university, and I was able to get my bachelor's degree with using the accommodations and advocating for myself. That is what really helped me. My grades really improved, and it was a much easier experience. Thank you. And after college, I had some jobs. It took me a while to kind of do what I want. I work in a school with kids that have disabilities as a teacher's aide, and I enjoy that. That's very rewarding. And then I also get to have another passion of mine, which has always been reading and writing. I've never been great with math or science, but I've always liked to read and I've always liked to write. And I can remember I was in a writing group, and one of my friends told me, you really should write about this, about having a disability. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I really don't. I just wanted the disability to go away. And I can remember when I finally did write about it, and I sent it off to get published. It got published on the Mighty. That was my first article.
Wow.
And just how healing that was, and how many people that I was able to connect with through other articles too. It was starting my own blog, and people just saying, I understand that. I've experienced that, and that just was the most healing thing for me to do.
Sure, you had a story, and every one of us has a story, and people need to hear it. Your story is different than mine, but people need to hear what we've gone through to overcome our own obstacles. That sounds great.
Right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was a blogger for a long time. I still am, but now I'm a vlogger. But
yeah,
now I'm a vlogger because we just transitioned. Same message. Obviously, we add to it as time goes on through our experiences. But tell us a little bit about how much you blog and how do you send your message out?
Sure. My blog is called Michelle's Mission, and my mission is to educate people on learning disabilities. And it's because there's a lot of myths that people think that are out there.
Sure.
I also try to empower people that have disabilities to be the best at whatever they want to do. We're all going to have different things that we're good at and different things that we struggle with, but just to empower them. And it's also to bring that encouragement too, to everybody though, just to encourage people, whether they have a disability or they don't, just to do the best that they can, and just to, get that message out.
Sure. So what's your best way, or how do you encourage people? What do you do or say that's inspiring others?
I think sometimes what I do to encourage other people is I'm pretty clear what I write. I'm pretty honest about things that happen. And I think that encourages other people when they read that and they think, oh, I had that experience, or that's something that I can relate to. So sometimes that's some encouragement there. And I can also encourage people to find a way to do what they want to do. it may not be college for everybody. It may not be going out and maybe publishing an article, but what is it that you want to do and to work around having a disability that won't go away, but you can still find other ways around things to do it. And I think that's sometimes where that encouragement is, and not to give up. And yep.
No, that's a real good point, because we're dealt what we're dealt. So we are who we are, and whether you're missing a limb or you can't figure out math or afraid of speaking, whatever it is, it's who we are. It's still part of who we are. We can still overcome those challenges, and we can still be an inspiration. I mean, I have all my arms and legs, but I'm a disabled veteran, for instance, and there are things I talk a lot about: depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress, things that affect me. But you can't really tell the way I walk and talk most of the time, unless I'm in a certain crowd or I have a specific message I want to tell. So what gives you the I don't know, the inspiration or the go ahead in your own mind to tell your story?
What gives me the inspiration is just helping that person and being able to show a disability that's hidden, like you were talking about, having mental health issue or things like that.
Sure.
A lot of times people will go up to me and they'll be like, if I tell them, oh, I have a disability, that's why you might see me walking, or I'm not driving, or that's why I'm not great with math, or I'm not able to maybe go on and do certain things. And they'll say, well, you don't look like you're disabled. Well, no, you can't see it, but it's there. Or I'll get other people that say, well, I know someone that's more disabled than you are. And I'm thinking, well, we really try not to get in the comparison game. I mean, I understand other people have different challenges as well too. And yeah, but you know, we each have things that we can't and can do. And some people you can see them and others they don't. So I try to just shed a light on what it is like to have this type of disability.
Sure, that's interesting. My brother failed first grade.
Wow.
And my son was told he had a learning disability and all these other things. My son has 3 homes now. He's only 30 years old. And my brother joined the Army and he's doing just fine. And but sometimes people, they mean well, they hold us back, giving us a little time to catch up. And that's okay, as long as they don't hold us back and tell us that we're not worthy or that we're not good enough.
Exactly.
A few years ago, I left the military, retired. Gratefully, I could retire. I couldn't find work. I had an MBA, I had an aeronautical engineering degree, all these things, but the kind of work I wanted to do or the level of experience I was used to wasn't available for me. So anyways, I went through a depression, a woe is me states, and all of these things where sometimes we do. And I had a doctor, and she says, "You're better than this. you can do something with your life." Because I was in the dumps for a good year or so. And then I was seeing, and then she told me, just go community college and take a couple classes and kind of get your mind working again. And I did. And my teacher, my professor, we're still friends today, 10 years later, she kicked me in the butt too, says, "Come on, you're better than this class I'm teaching. You could be doing this over here," and inspired me to get my doctorate. And those things are interesting because we get in those dumps, the pity party. We feel we've done all we can do. We can't do any more. And I went to Voc Rehab. They paid for my PhD or helped me get along the way there. And I applied for it, and that program wasn't available. And they kept saying, "No, we'll pay for a master's for this. We'll pay for a master's for that." I said, "I already have a master's. And my degree, I can't find a job in this area I'm living in. But here's something they need. They need psychologists. They need psychiatrists." And I encouraged them to give me what I wanted. So obviously you have a voice. How do you keep that voice going, that message going?
I just do my best to go out and share. Share that like on social media. I try to do a lot of that just through the blog, just through speaking at events like this, that helps out too. And also just being an encouragement when I'm at work with my students, because a lot of the ones who I work with that have disabilities, we're going to be sending them out into the real world, and we got to show them how to advocate for themselves and what strategies are going to work. And I don't always disclose my disability with my students. So, I mean, we try to keep that just with the age and everything, just to kind of keep it, well, I'm not good with numbers, or I'm not good with math. I can remember when I was in an elementary school classroom, I had a little girl, they couldn't even really help out with first grade math the way it is now. And I said, oh, honey, I'm not really that good with math. And she goes, oh, there's grown-up school for that. And I just laughed. I thought that, but sometimes I think when you get to show your weakness a little bit and not go into maybe a whole lot of details and share that with confidence, that kind of gives them the idea that not everybody is good at everything, and it's okay to struggle with something. It's all right to do that, and to try to look for different ways that they can do what they want to do with their lives.
I totally agree with you. I have a friend of mine, and I talked earlier, I'm a Toastmaster. Mm-hmm. I just love it. It gave me the voice and the confidence to speak in public. Well, this guy, he's a judge, and he's a Toastmaster. He's a judge. He was a lawyer, author of several books, and a public speaker. He even ran for Senate a few years ago and didn't make it.
Oh, wow.
But the interesting part is he's blind. He's blind. And when he was a judge, guess what he was a judge for? Social Security. The people who are applying say, I'm disabled, I can't work. What do you mean you can't work? I can't even see you. And you tell me you can't do something productive with life? You know, it's all perspective. And his house, the lights are always off. You don't need them on.
Right.
It's just one of those interesting things. But he's like, hold on. He's read a lot of books. And Braille, and I talked to him on the phone, and he could talk just fine. But, you know, email him back and forth. I don't know how the keyboards are. It probably talks to him as I'm doing those kinds of things. But so many of us have a challenge. And I think when someone has a challenge even bigger than we know, because not everyone knows our disabilities, they come out and challenge us and say, excuse me, if I can do it, you can do it. And that kind of wakes us up, but we need that little kick in the butt every now and then.
Right, because everybody can do something. I mean, some people might be able to do things that are a little more complex. Other people might be able to do things that are a little more basic, or there's something we can all do that we all, there is some stuff that we all are capable of doing.
Oh yeah, I had a friend of mine, quadriplegic, has no control of her arms or her legs, in a wheelchair. Well, I don't know, 20 hours a day, the rest she's in bed sleeping.
Right.
And to talk, she kind of had to, she used her eyes to communicate with the keyboard on her wheelchair, and it would talk. She was going to school and she had a job.
Exactly.
And all she wanted was a boyfriend. It was crazy. Like,
I just
want a boyfriend. Like, no, you know. And I think eventually she got married. I'm not sure how the whole story went, but she had no control over this or that. And talk to her eyes, but we'd have conversations. Because and she would spend a little more time than a lot of us, because unless we have a disability or we're short-sighted or somewhere, that we're able to focus a little bit better on the communication process.
Oh, yeah.
Great to talk to.
Oh,
but
definitely.
She just wanted a boyfriend. And she went to school, she got a job. Her parents lived nearby, but she lived on her own with around-the-clock care. Someone's always there talking to her. But she wanted to be independent. Like, wow.
Exactly. And some people, they need to have that caregivers to do that. Other people are able to do things independently, but everybody has a purpose. And whether that's going out and working or just doing other things, everybody can do something in their life.
That's right. We can all do something. And
Mhm.
I believe very strongly that's how we bless each other.
Exactly.
We're always complaining, oh, how come I'm not being blessed? Or how come God's not doing what I want him to do? Come on, he's putting people in your life. And I think our job is to serve others. Eh,
It is. And just to serve him with the gifts that he has given you. And faith is another important thing for me. A lot of times I'll think, oh, I would pray about something and I would think,
Sure.
oh God, why didn't it work out the way that I wanted? And it would turn out that eventually God's way was so much better than my own. And it just turned out so much better. And there was just so much that without God, I mean, a lot of the stuff wouldn't have happened.
I totally believe in
Mhm.
that. And the more I give, the more comes my way, the more the
Yep,
rewards I reap. And it's amazing. It doesn't even make any sense, but that's what faith is all
exactly.
about. Just
Yep,
do it anyways. What's the worst
right.
that can happen? All my needs have been met, and despite some of my past circumstances, it's not all pretty, but my needs have been met, and the better I do seems like because the more I serve and I get involved in volunteering.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
mean, yeah, people can still even volunteer, and that makes a difference too, even if you're not working, just having those hours that you're able to go and volunteer, church or a community event or things, other places, that always makes a difference too. In
it does.
fact, that's how I met my husband.
There you go.
But yeah, I was volunteering at an art center,
Yeah.
and he came to play open mic. He plays guitar,
Ooh.
and I was volunteering that night. And it turns out that we didn't plan it, but we were going to he was coming to the art center that night, and it turns out we knew mutual friends. So it was really neat. And if I wasn't volunteering or doing something like that, I wouldn't have met him. So,
Wow,
yep.
I picture you as a singer. Are you a singer?
No.
Karaoke? No, I pictured you get up there behind the mic and probably secretive. Don't tell anybody, but you're up there and singing right along.
I wasn't a singer, but I do like to write stories and things like that. And I would read those, and I always like doing that.
Oh,
Yep.
great, great. So tell us a little bit more about Michelle's mission. How long you been doing that?
I've been doing that for a little over a year.
Okay.
Yeah. I was given a disabilities supply scholarship through Pennsylvania Disability Pride. So they do scholarships for people that have disabilities with art to complete a project. So mine was to do a blog, and I also feature photography. That's another passion of mine. I because I can't drive, I either get a ride or else I get to walk. And sometimes I get to pick up on details other people miss while they're driving.
Sure.
So I'll take pictures of flowers or butterflies or just other things in nature that I see on my walks. And I really enjoy doing that. So I get to display some of my photography on there as well.
Nice. So is it michellesmission.org.com? What is it exactly?
Michelle'sMission.blog.
Dot blog. Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, that's interesting because it's so important. It's another way to serve people. If there's nothing else, showing others what they missed by driving. And I know just being a passenger in a
Right.
car, I see a lot more than when I'm actually driving. And that's for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, because I have a
Yeah.
lead foot. I
Oh,
like to drive fast.
okay. I have a friend that like that.
That's pretty good. So tell us a little bit about your profession and what you're doing right now.
Sure. I'm a teacher's aide,
Okay.
and I work with kids in a school, as I said, and just help reinforce some lessons with kids, students with and without disabilities, and just help our staff out with the school. And I also, like I said, take pictures, and I'm a disability writer, and I do a self advocacy as well, just with having the disability. So it, it gets busy.
Nice. I think we talked about the more we
Yeah,
serve, the more we volunteer, the more
right.
busy we get. And it's okay.
Exactly.
As
Yep.
long as long as you're doing what you love to do. Too many of us get busy. Well, we have to
Yeah.
make a living, don't get me wrong, but some of us get too busy just to be busy. And we need
Oh,
to
I
take a
agree.
breather, right? We need to take a breather sometimes.
Well, and that's another thing too, like with having a job, I knew a lot of people might have suggested things like, well, why don't you do like stocking shelves or work at McDonald's? And like, well, those are all very important jobs,
Sure,
great, good jobs too.
sure,
But it just, I don't have that passion to do it. So I knew that I wanted to go and work at a job that I love doing
sure.
and to feel fulfilled and to do some of those other creative pursuits on the side is also another great thing.
No, I totally agree with you. It wasn't until I actually got to retire when I got to enjoy life a little bit more. Got to pick and choose my projects, pick and
Yep.
choose where I
Mhm.
want to live, pick and choose where I want to vacation. Of course, it has to do with money a little bit, but at least I get to choose.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I
Yeah,
know.
let's be realistic. Too many of us still live outside of our means, and if we can just keep that under control, we can have a fruitful life despite our
Yeah.
circumstances.
And I like to travel as well. My husband and I like to do that. And I always say maybe I should have been a travel agent because I like to go out and look for good deals like on hotels. And I'm really good at finding free things to do or a lot of reduced price things.
Awesome.
Yeah. And people will say, how do you find all these places? And I'm like, well, I do a lot of the research before we go into it. And yeah,
Awesome.
that's another thing I like to do as well.
I love it. I have a travel business. What a coincidence.
Oh, no.
Absolutely. I'm involved in so many crazy things.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah.
It's wonderful. But if I stayed my path of working the same job I did forever and ever and ever, I never would have veered out.
Exactly.
If my
Yep.
whole life went smooth, I never would have discovered new things about myself.
Very
If
true.
I
Yep.
was married to my childhood sweetheart like we all wanted when we were a child, my life might not turn out as good as it is right now.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We need to be careful what we wish for, what we hope for, and just be thankful for what we have and make it the best that we can make it.
Exactly. The things sometimes we want aren't going to be things that are going to serve us or be the best things. So, and it doesn't seem like it at the time, but yeah.
Well, hey, a very important thing is what's your favorite sports team?
I really don't do a lot of sports, but I mean, I always hope the Steelers win.
All right, that's
Yeah.
good enough for me. That's good enough for me. Pittsburgh Steelers, you heard it here. You heard it here, audience. Pittsburgh Steelers rules, rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, they changed the name of their stadium from Heinz Field.
Right. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But that's good. Well, thank you so much, Ty, for sharing with our audience a little bit about what you do, some of your challenges. I'm not saying struggles, but we all have certain struggles, and we all have different challenges. And it helped you, even though the teachers or doctors told you won't amount to much in your life. Here you are. You're blogging, you're vlogging, you're working, you're inspiring and motivating other people. And maybe if they told you were perfect, you might not be able to do all those things that you're able to do today. And so
Yeah.
we all need to trip up every now and then and say, oh, I didn't like that. Maybe I better try to do something else with our lives. So
Exactly. It's always good to have some kind of change
great.
every once in a while.
So before I let you go, do you have any words of wisdom for us out
I think my words for wisdom would be to just try to know what you want to do. And if those original plans don't work out, to just try to find a different way to do that.
Beautiful. I love that very much. All right, well, audience, you heard it. Michelle Steiner at Michelle's Mission.blog. You want to learn more about that, please subscribe to our channel. We'll have it up in the chat box or words everywhere. We appreciate it. But this has been another great episode of In the Office with Joseph Skoda, and I appreciate all of you. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and share with others, and check out Social Media Sales Network, because that's where we're bringing people and the real stories of life. So with that being said, I salute you. Please join us next time. Bye now. If you liked our show, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or find us on any social media platform, Instagram, of course, Facebook. Like, subscribe, share. We appreciate it. Let us know your thoughts and join our team. Anyways, we appreciate you staying tuned week after week, day after day, because we continuously build up our network to bring to you what you're asking for. Have a great day.